Hi, it's November 22nd, 2020. Here I am. Ta-da! Now that we've done the proof of life, where I show you that I'm not grossly disfigured or I haven't gained 100 pounds, I look very much like my pictures. Um, there's some stuff that I'd like to share about my situation, the way that I feel about review culture, a few things. I had some previous videos about this, but I re-recorded them because I didn't like the way I looked in them. I really like this red wall. Um, I was never a big sharer. I was actually pretty close-lipped, actually, at work, and I just put forth my public persona, and that was it. Um, Unfortunately, that has caused people to make a lot of erroneous assumptions about my situation, and I finally reached the point that I just need to um, share the story in, warts and all, so that people stop assuming inaccurate things about me. First of all, there's this idea that I am eating frozen grapes because I'm, such a spoiled, pampered, you know, that I'm just making money hand over fist and living some luxury lifestyle. It couldn't be further from the truth. I see maybe a few clients a week, and that's it. Um, just about every day, I'm in financial terror because, first of all, there's a pandemic. I can't see that many people. Not that many people who are really good clients want to schedule right now. There are plenty of requests for scheduling, but they're not the guys that you want to see. I mean, I'm in a really awkward position where that's concerned. I don't have insurance or savings or anything. I can't afford to be sick. If I get sick, I'll probably lose my only companions, which are my little dogs. Those will be taken away somewhere. And even if I get a hospital bed, I'll end up with an astronomical bill that I'll never be able to pay. And so that makes you pretty anxious. Um, but on top of that, I live on the road, and there's this constant assumption that I have a quote unquote home base, even though I nowhere claim to have a home base. It's always someone just reading into the situation something that isn't there. When you contact me, you go to my contact form and you pick your city from a drop down of about 50 different cities. I would have thought that that would have been enough to tell people that I travel all the time, but apparently it requires me, going out of my way and saying it. So once I tell people that my stuff is in storage and I don't have a home base, then the gears start turning in their mind, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Why would somebody's lifestyle be like that? Oh, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's addictions, maybe she gambled it all away in Las Vegas. No, none of that happened. I had a stalker. I had a serious, real life stalker, not a cyber stalker. It was an ex of mine, not a client, someone who I unfortunately dated. And stalking is a form of domestic violence. You don't have to be famous for it to happen to you. It happens to all kinds of regular women. And unfortunately, it's not a short term thing, it's a thing that goes on for multiple years on average. It did in my case. I made the mistake of dating someone. He looked like he was fit and worked out at the gym. I mean, I'm not really a person who goes after the pretty boy or whatever. Usually, when it comes down to boyfriends, I haven't been looking at all. And then a guy will notice me and he'll pursue me so doggedly that I end up kind of giving into the persistence and like, okay, I was taught as a kid, um, maybe it was the wrong message, but give the nice guy a chance. Give the guy who's trying a chance. And I internalized that. And when a guy like keeps trying to talk me into going out with him, I'll be like, okay, I'll you know, I'm really not the hard ass that people think I am. And if I were a hard ass, I'd probably, stay out of these situations. So I dated this guy for a while, and I asked him to begin with, do you use steroids? Oh, no, of course I don't. And of course, a few months in, it turned out he was absolutely using steroids. So I tried to leave the relationship. You can't leave a relationship with a sociopath, especially one who's abusing steroids. So even though we lived in different parts of the country, I went back to my place. He would travel across the country to stalk me. At one point, when I was on tour, he drove all the way across the country with a loaded gun. And I know that because even though I was out of town, the night watchman told me that he saw this guy sitting in a convertible at the bottom of my staircase with a gun next to him on the seat. And when he asked that guy why he was sitting there, he said, "I'm waiting on that bitch to get home." So obviously he didn't get to murder me. Here I am. But he still wanted to get revenge for me leaving him. So he came back a few months later with some friends in a moving truck. And they proceeded to take their own sweet time cleaning out my apartment down to the bare walls. Just like in The Grinch, when he goes back into the bedroom and he gets that last Christmas ornament because he doesn't want to leave a single thing. That's what happened to me. So everything that I ever owned, everything of sentimental value, family pictures going back to the 1940s, my favorite stuffed bear from when I was 4 years old, everything was gone. Gone, gone, gone. And I didn't have renter's insurance. So if you can imagine what it would be like if your house were to burn to the ground right now, but you didn't have insurance, you just lost everything. That was it. That's what I went through. Except in my case, I didn't have a supportive family. I didn't have supportive friends. I didn't have the Red Cross. I didn't have a GoFundMe. I didn't have co-workers comforting me. I had no one. I had myself. I have family that I'm related to. I had quote-unquote friends. Unfortunately, when you're a woman and you go through a situation like that, you find out that people are not that good at being supportive in that situation. People don't understand stalking that much because it hasn't really gotten the amount of press that other things like rape have gotten. And so when you are stalked by someone like that, your quote-unquote support network, instead of supporting you, they'll say things like, "Oh, what did you do to make him act that way?" Or, "Where do you find these guys?" So I was pretty much on my own. I just lost everything. And 24 hours later, I had to go back to work alone. And I had a client. At that point in time, I was on TER with a pretty sizable number of reviews. All of them were good up until that point. In fact, most of the reviews said best massage of my life. And I had the top score that you could possibly get for massage on just about every review. And 24 hours after my house had been cleaned out, I had to give a massage to this guy. And afterwards, he went back to TER to review me as well. And he gave me a mediocre score and said, "Do not recommend." Now, in his review, he didn't say that I was mean to him, or I was smelly, or I gave a bad massage, or I ripped him off, or I shorted him on his time. No, nothing. His big complaint in the review, and I'm not under exaggerating here. His big complaint in the review about me was that my personality wasn't outgoing and bubbly enough. I shit you not. I was in emotional and mental shock from an ongoing stalker who had just taken literally everything that I owned 24 hours before. Here was a guy from TER telling the world that nothing really fundamentally wrong with Vanessa. She's just not quite bubbly and outgoing enough. And that was enough for me to not have any appointments, on top of losing everything that I owned for a while. So insult on top of injury. Now eventually I ended up getting more good reviews after that. And then I ended up seeing another guy months later. That guy was from a city that I'd lived in for 10 years. I knew that city extremely well. In addition to doing massage, I'd also worked as a courier there, so I literally drove all over that metro area. I knew it like the back of my hand. So I went back to visit for a massage visit, and I advertised, and I was in a upscale hotel on the club lounge level on the south side of town by the airport because I wanted to stay out of the legendary traffic there. So that's why I was on that side of town. And I scheduled a bunch of guys who had no problem coming there. And then here this guy comes. He had emailed me on previous visits, and I got this inaccurate impression of him that he was so sweet and earnest and trying so hard, and it really wasn't accurate, but it was my read on this situation. And so I decided to go the extra mile for this guy because, oh, he's trying so hard. What a sweetheart. So I told him where I was. Nice place. Oh, I don't want to come to that side of town. That side of town's gross. It's ghetto. I said, I'm in a upscale hotel in the club lounge. What are you talking about? This really has no bearing on the surrounding neighborhood. This is airport. This is its own little world over here. Oh, I just don't want to come over there. I said, are you unable to come over here because it's too far for you to drive and get home in time? Or is this just a preference for you? He admitted to me, oh, it's just a preference. I could come there if I wanted to, but he just had this classist idea about the cachet of it all. Oh, I had to be somewhere else now. That was beneath him. I should have stopped right there. But again, like I said, my problem is that I'm not too much of a hard ass. My problem is that I'm not enough of a hard ass. So I said, all right, what if I get in touch with all these other people that I already have scheduled for tomorrow, and I ask them if they want to move to a hotel on complete opposite side of town, 45 minutes from here? Would that make you happy? Oh, yes, absolutely. I said, okay, this is going to be a lot of trouble. Reservations, bellman, moving my stuff, contacting all these people. But, let me do this. And I told him the hotel that I would be at in the new location. Oh, yes, it's such a great place. Thank you, thank you. So I did that. I moved to the same hotel I told him about. I saw the other guys. And then this guy, Mr. Earnest, he was the last appointment of the day. And I thought, well, the only thing I have to do after this is go to dinner. I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry. I'm certainly not going to be a clock watcher. He comes in, he gets on my table. He lies down, face down, and I start massaging his shoulders at the beginning of an hour-long massage. We're not even 10 minutes in, and he's like, when are you going to get to the good stuff? Like, he's antsy. He's bucking around the table. I said, what are you talking about? You scheduled an hour. I've only been touching your back for a few minutes. We need to move on. Well, the main complaint in this business is that women short you on your time. And that's something that will earn you a bad review. If you don't give someone the amount of time that they scheduled, you're going to get, bad feedback from people. So obviously you always want to give clients the amount of time that they schedule. You don't want to short anyone. It's part of doing a good job. But here this guy is, he's like, get on with it, get on with it. And I don't really know what to do at this point, because I have this work ethic and this need to give everyone what they scheduled. And so I thought, well, I just need to help this guy relax. He seems like he has a high-powered, stressful job and he doesn't know how to relax. So I'll just be patient with him. And I did that. And in the end, he had scheduled 60 minutes, but I worked on him for 90 minutes and he only owed me for 60 minutes. So he got 30 minutes for free. At the end of that appointment, I thought, wow, I just gave this guy 30 extra minutes. I have knocked this one out of the park. This is going to be the best review ever. So I fly from there to Chicago, and I end up in a corner suite that's $300 or $400 a night. And after two days of being in that suite, I had no appointments, and I was crying my eyes out, like, what is happening? What is happening? I'm nice. I'm excellent at what I do. What is happening? And then it finally occurred to me, oh, I need to check TER. Every time something squirrely is going on, you have to look at the review boards. And sure enough, that guy, Mr. Earnest, had gone back to TER. That hotel room that he was so excited about me moving to because it was so nice and upscale, he had gone back to TER and described it as a generic hotel room. And then he went on to complain that I worked on him for too long. And I'm not kidding about that. Between my reviews and the reviews that he wrote of other girls, he went ahead and he said the quiet part out loud, which is that um, I schedule with body rub providers, but I don't even want the massage. I just do it because I like the game of trying to coerce them into offering full service. A lot of guys do that. Not a lot of guys just come out and admit it. But he did. In various different reviews, he just point blank said that. So this guy is a boundary pushing rapist. He's running around, he's scheduling with people who don't offer what he wants. If they don't give him what he wants, then he gives them a bad review on TER. If they do, then the upside for him is he gets it for cheap because he's paying body rub prices but talking them into giving him full service. And I was the person who stuck to my guns and actually offered what I say that I offer over and over and over again, so therefore I got a bad review. So I really don't want to be discussed on review boards for all these reasons. I have PTSD when it comes to my privacy from being stalked over a matter of years. Review boards do not care about our privacy. Guys will describe our pets. They will describe our personal effects. They will just put the name of the street that we're on. They'll trade our contact info like it's trading cards. You expect providers to be discreet, but you don't give back discretion when you use these review boards. So just think about this. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, when you're flying home and spending it with your extended family against the recommendations of the CDC and you're creating a super spreader event, you're probably going to come back from this holiday after I've not been able to work for a week, and you're going to give me coronavirus, and I'm not going to have insurance, I'm not going to have savings, I'm not going to have a home, and I'm probably going to lose the last few things that I have when I get sick. Just think about that over the holidays. Think about how you expect to get kindness, you expect to get discretion, you expect to get all these sweet, wonderful things, but you don't necessarily give those things back to me. Good qualities in people are not something that are dispensed like a vending machine. They're things that are exchanged equally between people. That's all I have to say.